When former U.S. Ambassador Sam Brownback analyzes the growing cooperation between China, Russia, and Iran, he describes something more complex than a standard defense pact. He labels this alignment an authoritarian civilization bloc. This concern isn't just about trade routes or regional influence. It reflects an anxiety that these nations are attempting to design the first truly post-Western global order. For decades, the West relied on the formula that secured its 1945 dominance: industrial monopoly, massive gold reserves, and the persuasive power of the Marshall Plan. This success created the assumption that Western-style liberal democracy was the final destination for every developing nation. The current friction suggests a different path. The struggle is shifting towards the basic definitions of the state, the limits of individual liberty, and the organizing principles of modern life. We are seeing a layered effort to provide a functional alternative to the Western model, one that challenges the very logic of how a modern society should operate. The physical foundation of the old order has shifted. In 1945, the United States produced half of the world's total GDP. Today, China alone accounts for roughly 35% of global manufacturing, while the American share of industrial output has slipped to 15%. Financial dominance has faced a similar challenge. When Western capitals froze $350 billion in Russian and Iranian reserves, they demonstrated the power of the dollar, but also incentivized other nations to find a way out of the system. The result is a rapid decoupling. Over 90% of trade between Russia and China is now settled in their own currencies, bypassing the SWIFT network entirely in favor of alternative systems like China's CIPS. On the water, the numbers have tilted. With more than 370 active warships, the Chinese Navy has quantitatively surpassed the United States in fleet size. Russia has focused its efforts on specialized technology, deploying hypersonic missiles like the Kinjal and Avangard. These systems travel at speeds that make existing Western air defenses struggle to keep pace. Iran adds a layer of asymmetric pressure, using low-cost tools like the Shahed 136 drone to challenge high-value defense systems, forcing the West into an expensive and difficult defensive posture. Industrial, financial, and military monopolies once defined the post-war era. On every one of these metrics, the Eastern Axis has built a way around the old gatekeepers. There is a metaphysical layer to this alliance as well. Iran provides the Axis with a clear ideological spirit, a direct and long-standing refusal to accept Western cultural standards as universal. In this worldview, the Western model isn't just a competitor. It's seen as a center of spiritual dissolution and social fragmentation, where consumerism has replaced community. This animation illustrates the concept of multiple modernities. Instead of one global standard, we see the rise of an Asia-centric model that prioritizes state stability and collective identity over individual secularism. But perhaps the most significant shift isn't being led by the East. It is being driven by the West's own actions on the global stage. For much of the global South, the rhetoric of a rules-based order has faced a profound credibility gap. The contrast between Western responses to different conflicts has led many to view international law as a tool of convenience rather than a universal principle. This perception is deepened by the use of aggressive measures like cyber sabotage and diplomatic assassinations. In the eyes of many emerging powers, these tactics suggest that the rules are secondary to the exercise of brute force. The West's ability to define global norms is no longer an assumed right. It has become a site of active, daily contestation. It is important to recognize that this Eastern Axis is not a seamless or perfect union. Each member faces internal pressure. China deals with a shrinking and aging workforce. Russia is managing a heavily sanctioned economy, and Iran continues to face intense domestic social and economic strain. This alliance isn't built on a shared, flawless ideology. It is a pragmatic reaction to the current international system, a partnership defined more by what it opposes than what it perfectly agrees upon. Even with these flaws, the foundations of the 20th century consensus have faced a triple erosion: a loss of technological monopoly, a decline in financial trust, and a crisis of moral consistency. The defining tension of our time isn't a simple race for more hardware. It is a contest over which civilization's vision will define the human experience in radically different ways as we move further into a world where the West no longer anchors alone.